Hello, my name's Carter Stevens, and we're going to talk about the paper A Review of Nose Picking in Primates with New Evidence of Its Occurrence in Devitonia madagascariensis. And this is by Anne Claire Fabre et al. So, first, we're going to talk about um, mainly the three things this paper goes over. And of course, it starts with the nose picking, or in other words, it's called rhinotelexis. This characteristic is shared between four different families of primates. Rhinotelexis seems to be present in the most dexterous primate of each family, which is interesting. And nose picking appears to have an evolutionary reasoning beyond being a random. And then top right, you can see the eye here. He has his entire finger up his nose. And then you'll see down here in the bottom left, this is a table that researchers made. And this is of all the observations. It's the 11 different species which they saw out of the four different families, and whether they are wild or captive, and videos or literature references to each. You'll also see um, over in this right, the finger slash probe, there are some that say stick, and that's because it's not always nose picking with your finger, but it is nose picking for the sake of getting mucus and likely ingesting it. So first we'll talk about the nose picking families. So the four primates that are observed nose picking is Hominidae, Cercopithecidae, Cebidae, and Daubentoniidae. And that those are represented by the yellow dots over here, which shows the presence. And then you'll see the red dots, which are labeled unknown, and the authors of this paper really wanted to make clear that just because they are unknown does not mean that it doesn't happen. It just means that they're possibly in need of further research. So then we'll get to the possible evolutionary reasonings and clues that uh, on like why nose picking is a thing. And multiple theories is proposed by research. So one is the ingestion of nasal mucus or mucophagy works as an immune system booster. And this one is also kind of presented alongside that it's kind of like a proto vaccine. It just introduces your body to new things so that it can make antibodies early in life. Another study that was reviewed in this paper suggested that because mucus is made mainly out of water and salt, that humans and other primates are just attracted to it because we're evolutionarily attracted to the tastes of salt, um, because it's one of the main thing our body needs for functioning. So, and then another different study suggested that mucophagy can make it harder for bacteria to stick to teeth, which may promote oral health. And personally, I think this is probably the least likely, just because I don't know if this could make nose picking evolve four times independently, um just because I don't know how more significant the oral health, like it obviously was significantly healthier, but I don't know if that would contribute to natural selection and reproduction. So clues towards an evolutionary advantage, and these are just clues, not necessarily theories, but the fact that all evidence of nose picking seems to show that it evolved independently suggests that there's an advantage to it. And then the last clue of nose picking is seen in the most dexterous members of each family. And this suggests a possible link between like skilled hands and fingers or specialized fingers and picking their nose. And we'll talk about the specialized fingers in the next slide. And this is on the eye, or um, as I said earlier, Dobintonia madagascariensis. And what makes the nose picking so unique, and that's because of that extremely long middle finger that they have. Sometimes it can be 2/3 longer than all their other fingers, which is a very significant amount. And to find how basically eyes did this, the researchers did a CT scan of an eye skull and found that to fit the whole finger in the eye's nose, that its finger had to be through the nose and into the pharynx and actually in the throat. And this kind of shows a possible function that is beyond other primates because this is a bit more specialized. And they also only pick their nose with this finger. Then we'll talk about what the paper concludes. And the main conclusion of this paper is that there is enough evidence for nose picking be advantageous, um, that it would promote evolutionary, that it warrants further research. And the researchers themselves say that data may not be, or that data may be skewed for families of primates that are less remote or more well documented, especially because they included primates in zoos in captivity. And these, of course, are going to be the ones that have the most cameras on them all the time and are the least hard to get to. And the only way to get to the bottom of the primate nose picking mystery is further research. Lastly, we'll talk about the lead researcher, that is Anne-Claire Fabre. She works on evolutionary biology, functional morphology, vertebrates, shape evolution, and comparative analysis. And she's an assistant professor at the Institute of Ecology and Evolution at the University of Bern, Switzerland. Thank you for listening.